You don't often hear the words epic science fiction movie and indie film used together to describe the same project. But director Duncan Jones has a new movie. It's called Moon, and it fits into both categories. With a $5 million budget, Moon does have big stars. It's Sam Rockwell and Kevin Spacey. But I'm guessing that the life-size spaceships and supernova explosions were kept to a minimum. Duncan, by the way, is the son of another very creative artist, David Jones, better known by his stage name, David Bowie. You can see Moon today at 4:15 p.m. at the Seattle International Film Festival Theater. Duncan Jones, welcome to Seattle and the Bob Rivers Show. How are you?
I'm really good, sir. How are you?
Good. It's nice to meet you. And $5 million, I'm pretty sure they spent more money on one scene in Star Trek than you spent on your whole movie.
Absolutely. I think that probably covered catering for them.
That's about right, yeah. So, and I've had a couple of friends work on independent films, and what a creative, passionate, artistic thing to be doing to tell a story. Now, did people tell you were nuts to try and do a science fiction on the moon?
Well, you know, I had a background in the UK of doing commercials. I've been doing commercials for a few years. So people over there kind of knew technically that I knew what I was doing. But it was really just, you know, taking that opportunity to move in feature films. It's a big jump. And I think the biggest concern really was how you're going to pull off something with the special effects that you want to do for $5 million. But we had a pretty good plan of how we did it.
You probably couldn't have done it, 5 or 10 years ago, just with the advances in computer technology, right?
Well, to be honest, one of the things that we did with our film was we went very retro. So we used model miniatures, and we had, we used a lot of the techniques that they were using back in the 70s and 80s. We had like these little Tonka truck moon rovers that we dragged across lunar landscape that we built in a soundstage. With fishing wire and,
Oh, okay.
It's very old school. So
can we see the wires? Can we see the spaceship hanging from
wires?
Okay.
No,
that was $4 million of the $5 million budget. Was that invisible wire?
Well, that's the way George Lucas was doing it back in the day.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. We were using the same techniques.
Now, you were out in the lobby listening when we were talking about you earlier, right?
Yes, I was. I'm in the lion's den now.
So we all know you're David Bowie's son.
Yes, I am.
And I'll tell you, my son moved to L.A. once just to get away from being my son, and I'm not even that big of a celebrity. From everything I've read, you and your dad get along great.
Yeah.
And you've had a life together, and he, in fact, had custody of you.
Absolutely, yeah. I was brought up by him.
How inspirational was he? Massive, I'm sure.
Inspirational? I'm not sure. I mean, he was my dad, so I was kind of just surrounded by the same stuff he was surrounded by when I was growing up. So, same kind of music, same kind of films. I was seeing the same things and listening to the same music.
Yeah, but your dad was Ziggy Stardust. If Gene Simmons' kid makes a movie, it's a horror movie. Was your love of science fiction something that your dad shared with you, fostered in you?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There were certain films and things that he showed me when I was growing up, whether it was stuff from Kubrick or the things that really affected me, like Outland and Silent Running and
Great
Alien,
stuff,
the Ridley Scott films. Those are the ones that really, had a lot of impact on me, and Terry Gilliam films as well. There was all sorts of things that I loved growing up. My dad gave me a lot of books to read. I was a big fan of John Wyndham and George Orwell, and later on William Gibson and J.G. Ballard, who unfortunately just passed away. Yep. But those guys were all people that I read a lot of and watched a lot of films from.
I know one of the producers of your movies, Trudy Styler, is any of the police music or your dad's music licensed for the film? There's been some great songs.
What about that Space Oddity song?
No, I tried to stay away from that.
How about Dark Side of the Moon?
Walking on the Moon?
We could spend a long time talking about Moon
River.
Music.
Yeah. Moon over my hammy.
Yeah, he's eating moon pie all the time.
Yeah.